is ever ready.
Archivist Elrin, he believes otherwise.
The world remembers, even when its people forget.
And if the memory is too heavy,
then the listener will carry it.
very well. Let the Evimora awaken.
Remember, 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 remember. Remember, 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 remember.
There are older questions than history, older even than memory, questions written into the bones of the universe, long before the first creature ever opened its eyes and wondered why it existed. The scholars of Evimora have debated these questions for thousands of years. The Avasi carved them into crystal tablets. The Ori scribes preserved them in memory songs. The Luminari argued them in sanctuaries lit only by moonlight. And still, no one agrees completely. But there is one truth almost every surviving record accepts. Before Evimora, before moons, before life, there were only two things: light and darkness. Before the world carried the name it bears now, it was young, fertile, beautiful, and terribly vulnerable. Existence itself trembled between two vast currents, one whose nature was to gather, bind, and shape, and another whose instinct was to dissolve, unmake, and return all things to silence. The first scholars described this struggle as ancient. The elders called it inevitable, and a few philosophers argued something far stranger, that light and darkness were never enemies at all, but partners, a bonded pair whose tension made existence possible. Before dust, before breath, before orbit, there were no worlds, no stars, no time, only a cosmic relationship, light and dark. Not opposites, dependents. Their tension gave birth to the great dual rhythms that would one day define existence itself. Creation and dissolution, love and rejection, harmony and silence. Some ancient tablets even claim the two forces were aware of one another. That creation did not explode into being, but negotiated itself into existence. Light is often misunderstood. Many cultures imagine it as goodness, virtue, moral purity. But the oldest Avasi writings disagree. Light is not morality. Light is intention. It is purpose-made active. Light shapes, light binds. Light invites life to become something more than mere survival. Kindness, compassion, love. These are not light itself. They are only echoes. A world without light could still exist, but it would never choose. Darkness, too, is misunderstood. It is easy to call it evil, but evil requires choice. Darkness does not choose. Darkness dissolves. It receives what light releases. It is the quiet return of form back into silence. Without darkness, creation would never end. Without light, nothing would ever begin. As stars awakened across the cosmos, worlds began to form. Matter gathered. Gravity carved motion into the void. And on one small world, life began to stir. Roots broke soil. Rivers carved valleys. Creatures learned movement, breath, hunger, curiosity, and among them rose the first people of this world, the Faelin. Long before they built cities, long before they mastered power. They listened, because the world itself was alive. Threaded through every stone, every river, every living body, flowed something older than civilization. Phora. Phora is often mistaken for magic. It is not. Phora is the world's living current, a primordial resonance woven into Evimora at the instant of its forming. It exists within stone, soil, water, wind, flesh, thought, motion. There is no place where Phora is absent, only places where it is quiet. Phora does not command. Phora listens, it reacts. It sustains whatever exists. Forests, cities, wounds, corruption, life, death. Phora does not judge. It participates. To control Phora is impossible. To align with it is the foundation of every power the Faelin would one day learn. Phora listens most closely when life is thinking. Thought influences it. Emotion colors it. Intention opens pathways within it. Among the Faelin, this responsiveness would eventually become the foundation of telepathic communion, resonant vocalization, and the shaping of Phora into visible form. But sound itself accomplishes nothing. The voice is only a bridge. Without alignment of thought and feeling, the most beautiful spell collapses into silence. Or worse. One truth must be understood clearly. Phora is not light. Phora belongs to the world. Light exists beyond it. Phora sustains. Light acts. Phora reacts. Light decides. And this distinction would shape the fate of Evimora forever, because Phora cannot oppose darkness. It was never meant to. It sustains whatever survives. If corruption spreads, it will sustain corruption. If forests grow, it will sustain forests. Only light could resist the destructive forces that later records would call the Noctira. But light carries its own danger, because light is pure, absolute. An absolute power cannot remain inside a living world without freezing it into permanent judgment. No mistakes, no growth, no freedom. If light had remained on Evimora permanently, the world would have been safe, peaceful, perfect, and utterly lifeless in spirit. Every decision already made, every outcome already determined. Life would exist, but it would never truly live. So light did something unexpected. It left, but not entirely. The ancient Avasi described the relationship simply. Phora is the instrument. Light is the composer. When light departed from direct presence, it left its music behind. The world would now play its own song, sometimes beautiful, sometimes terrible, always unfinished. From that moment forward, the universe of Evimora operated under a single, unbreakable structure. Balance. Not balance as morality, not balance as peace. Balance as consequence. Power invites strain. Absence invites revelation. Restoration leaves memory. Across ecosystems, civilizations, and personal lives, the same cycle repeats again and again and again until the lesson is learned. Phora sustains, light preserves, but neither determines what the world becomes. That responsibility belongs to those who live within it, which means something both terrifying and extraordinary. The world will grow. What it grows into is not the world's decision. Light preserved the possibility of existence. Phora carried that possibility into the newborn world. The mountains rose. Rivers carved their paths. Forests stretched toward the sky like living cathedrals of breath. Every stone, every creature, every whisper of wind pulsed faintly with the living current of Phora. To the early observers, it seemed obvious. This world had been touched by light, not ruled by it, but shaped by its lingering presence. A beautiful world, alive with purpose. But balance never leaves a shadow empty. Where light had left behind intention, darkness left behind something else. Not absence, not silence. Something patient, something that did not belong. The Avasi records speak carefully here. Many of the earliest tablets were destroyed. Others were sealed by the guardians themselves. But fragments remain, enough to understand one unsettling truth. Darkness did not simply watch creation unfold, it answered it. Deep beneath the living surface of the world, through stone and root, where Phora is low and scarce, something buried itself within the young planet. Not life, not death, something hollow, something that fed not on flesh, but on the unraveling of meaning itself. These intrusions would come to be known by a name spoken with caution across all ages of Evimora. The Noctira, bearers of a corruptive current known as Nithra. Where Phora connected life, Nithra hollowed it. Where Phora sustained memory, Nithra erased it. Where Phora allowed the world to grow, Nithra whispered for it to collapse. But the newborn world did not understand the threat. Life continued. The Faelin fought hard to defend their land and themselves as the corruption spread. The world was born beautiful, but beauty is something corruption loves to devour. And so, the question that would shape all of Evimoran history became inevitable. Not whether darkness existed, but whether the world would recognize it before it was too late.